Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to a special reading week where we are celebrating World Book Day, which is on Thursday. So the whole school are going to be looking at something called Esops Fables. So Aesop was a Greek folk hero who is supposed to have lived in the 6th century BC, and he gained a great reputation as a teller of animal fables. So the French date today is lundi le 1 mai, and the fable that we are choosing to look at this week is called The Town Mouse and the Country Mouse. You may or may not know it, but it's been a story that has been around for many, many, many years, and therefore it has lots of different versions. So it's also on Monday the 1st of March, St. David's Day. So there's our tribute to the Welsh flag and some other things that are connected to Wales, daffodils and leeks. And we are going to do our usual structure for reading. So it's going to be very similar with just a different text. So we're going to do exploring vocabulary as usual on a Monday. So you know how to be successful by now. You have to identify words you don't know. You have to try and work them out using reading strategies. And then you must check the meaning using a dictionary. Okay, so what is a fable then? So a fable is a story that teaches a lesson, normally has characters that are animals, and the animals talk. One of the characters often has a weakness, and it's trying to talk about human behaviours, but retelling it through animals. And they often only have 2 to 3 characters. I learnt something today. I learnt a person who writes fables is called a fabulist or fabulist. I have to see how to say that. When animals talk, it's called, I've got to try and remember how to say this, anthropomorphized. And if you think about it, have you ever heard of anthropology, the study of humans? And that is where that would be coming from. So it's when human traits, emotions, or intentions are linked to non-humans. The fable is also normally brief or succinct, which is a word I tell you about quite a bit when we're trying to summarize. So do you know what a moral is? Is it a moral or a lifelong lesson? So if you say something like, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, cheaters never win, don't judge a book by its cover, that's something that you can use throughout your life as a meaning. So it's a lesson. If you just say something you might do all the time in life, like pick up, this is American, but pick up the rubbish on the road, brush your teeth 3 times a day, don't hit your brother or sister, it's not really a moral, that's just an instruction, just something to do. But these are meant to be things that really make you think. They're lessons, and they are called morals. So you learn something from them. Okay, so you'll be familiar with this chart. So whilst we're reading the fable, make sure you note down any words that you're unsure of and think about what they might mean using your reading strategies, which I'll show you again in a second. So, The Town Mouse and the Country Mouse. Let's read the story. This version is by James Daniel Wilson. One warm and sunny morning, Country Mouse looked out over the peaceful green fields and wondered what lay beyond them. In the distance, he could see a town, and rising up into the sky was a clock tower. I wonder what life is like there, thought Country Mouse. Meanwhile, Town Mouse was sat admiring the view from that very clock tower. She could see the trees and the lush green grass. I wonder what it's like living there, thought Town Mouse as she finished off a delicious piece of cheese. Later that day, both mice decided it was time to head to the fields to play. Town Mouse scurried while Country Mouse skipped. Country Mouse jumped while Town Mouse dodged. Hello, said Country Mouse. Hi, replied Town Mouse. Where are you from? I live in a little hay barn just over there. What about you? I live in that clock tower, said Town Mouse. Both mice looked past each other towards the home of their new friend. "Would you like to come to my house for something to eat?" asked Country Mouse. "Oh, I would love to," replied Town Mouse. "Great, catch me if you can," called Country Mouse, and off he ran. When they arrived at Country Mouse's hay barn, they went in through a tiny hole by the back door. Inside there was dried fruit and nuts. Country Mouse began to gather what he could and ate a little of this and a little of that, washing it all down with a few slurps of water from a puddle in the corner. Town Mouse was grateful and ate what she could find, but this was not the sort of feast she had in mind. After they had eaten, they lay down on the soft hay that filled the barn. Country Mouse felt very comfortable, but Town Mouse couldn't help but miss the comfort of her fine home, and she went to sleep dreaming of a belly full of food. Suddenly, Town Mouse woke up to a strange sound getting louder and louder. "Moo, moo," it went, and the barn began to shake. Country Mouse didn't move, but Town Mouse felt afraid. "It's just the cows coming in to be milked, don't worry," said Country Mouse sleepily. The next morning, the two little mice woke up early, and Town Mouse offered to show Country Mouse her home. They set off straight away and soon reached the edge of the town. Do you think that Town Mouse is eager to get home after the night's stay in the country? There, Country Mouse saw things he had never seen before and heard things he had never heard before. There were huge machines moving faster than any mouse could run. "Beep, beep," said one. "Honk," said another. There were people everywhere, talking, shouting, and laughing. It was all so busy and so loud. "Nearly there," yelled Town Mouse above the din. "Thank goodness," thought Country Mouse, who was struggling to keep up. The huge doors of the clock tower opened, and the two mice entered into the echo of voices and laughter. The smell of food filled the air, and both mice were suddenly very hungry. They climbed on top of a table filled with the most delicious food, cheeses of all different flavours, fresh bread, grapes, and all sorts of cakes and biscuits for pudding. They ate and ate until they were both so full that they could barely move. Suddenly the huge bell rang in the clock tower. Dong! Country Mouse jumped up with a start. As quickly as he could with a belly full of food, he ran all the way down the stairs out of the clock tower and didn't stop until he reached his hay barn. Town Mouse watched her new friend running away, and she wished she could have told him not to be scared, for she knew it was safe and the bell was only ringing to tell the time. Town Mouse loved living in the tower. She felt happy to be home, as Country Mouse was happy to be back in the hay barn. He had loved the delicious food in the town, but he would rather be here in the quiet countryside with his nuts and seeds than in the hustle and bustle back there, frightened. Home was where both mice were happiest, but they were very glad to have made a new friend. So can you think about what the moral of the story is? Just pause the video and have a think, maybe write it down. Okay, so the moral is to do with when you're wishing for different things, is it going to make you happy? Sometimes you are content, that's a word we'll talk about, when with the things you have. Just if you wish for someone else's life doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make you happier. That's the life lesson that Esops Fable, I believe, was trying to tell people. In other versions, the mice are cousins, and it is a cat who scares Country Mouse instead of what scared her? That's right, the bell. Do these change? Do these changes alter the moral of the story, do you think? Or would it still be the same? That's right, I think it would still be the same. So even though the story's been retold many, many times, the moral has always remained the same. And that's important in a fable. So remember our strategies when we're trying to think about what the words mean. Okay, think about what is happening in the sentence, find surrounding words that may help explain the meaning, think about similar words or root words, and when you think you have worked it out, substitute, put the word in the sentence and see if it makes sense. Ooh. Okay, so you need to go to Teams where you will find your vocabulary grid and write down words that you are unsure about. If you're not sure which words to choose, then as always, I've got the support grid also on Teams, and I'll just show you a couple of those words. So I've put meanwhile and admiring. So if you go back words are normally in order in the text. That's what I try to do. So here we go, there's admiring. And meanwhile is also in that sentence that comes first. So let's look at admiring. So meanwhile, Town Mouse was sat admiring the view from that very clock tower. So we know that she's happy. We know that she wants to go at that point to the country. So what do we think admire would be then? Have a think. Have you had a think? Okay, so it's looking at something and it's making you feel happy. It's looking at something and you respect it, or yeah, make you feel it's good. Okay, so think about how you could explain that and look that up in the dictionary. Either you can use an online dictionary or you might have a dictionary at home. See what it actually says. But that's the general thing, looking at it and you really like what you see. Okay, so we know how to do this, so we'll carry on with our words. So I've already told you that. And then when you finish, please can you choose some of your words to write your own sentences to show that you understand the meaning of the word, to make sure you've got it in the right context, we call it. And then you may have seen this on the newsletter, an extra task for reading this week, doesn't have to be today, but can you find a wooden spoon, if you've got one, and decorate it for our character garden we're going to make outside the front entrance of our school. So can you turn a wooden spoon into a book character? That would be absolutely fantastic. Right, well, enjoy your reading and we will see you tomorrow for some more work on this Aesop fable. Bye-bye.